Hi, James Malfeeders here again, and yesterday you registered for my webinar called How to Get More Ideal Clients into Your Practice Anytime You Want. Now the webinar is actually based on one of my best-selling books called Accounting Clients on Tap, and I'm really excited about teaching you how to get more clients into your practice at will. You know, this is truly the most powerful system that I've ever seen for getting clients into your practice. And all of my clients tell me that after implementing the system into their own practices, they've never used any other method for getting clients again, simply because they just don't have to. In fact, the metaphor that this book is based upon should actually tell you everything that you need to know. We simply go ahead and we drive traffic to a special page on our site. And by the way, don't worry if you don't have a site. And at the end of this process, we actually get our ideal clients to pay us a consultation fee. Now, I find that my clients convert 8 out of 10 prospects that they have the opportunity to have a consultation with into clients. And I'm going to teach you this whole system on the webinar. Now, some of the more astute people out there have sent in a number of very insightful questions. And while I'm going to answer most of them on the webinar, there's one question that I want to answer right now, because I think that you'll actually be able to get a ton of value out of this, and you'll be able to actually use it before you get on the webinar. And this is a question that I always get asked, and that is, how do I get traffic to my site? Now, believe it or not, this is actually the easiest part of the entire system. And it's really based on knowing who your ideal client is. Now, that's difficult to answer, and it's something we're going to spend a lot of time on the webinar. So, although this seems very counterintuitive, it's actually much easier to find your ideal clients online than it is to find them offline. And then once we've done that, we simply take them offline into our practices. Now, you're going to have to ask yourself one simple question. That's all you have to do. And that is, who has access to a list of my ideal clients? And then your job is to go negotiate with these people so that they'll expose those clients to you. Now, there are many ways to go about this, and I particularly love webinars, but I'm going to teach you much simpler ways to actually do that. So I asked myself this very same question when I started doing webinars to attract accountants. Now, there are many different ways to do it, for example, Google, Facebook, and LinkedIn, but I always like to think a little bit outside of the box. So what I did is I approached everybody that delivers CPD training to accountants, either by way of webinar or by live presentation. And I simply phoned them up and I asked them if I could come and see them, and every single one of them without exception said yes. And then I said, could I do a webinar for your people? And again, everybody said yes. Now, I never charged for the webinar, but I got access to my ideal clients, and it was a very targeted list of prospects. So after delivering this webinar, I made a crazy offer, which I'm going to tell you about in a future webinar. And because of this, I was only hoping to get 10 new clients, but I actually ended up getting 40 new clients on one webinar. Now, this was a little bit overwhelming to say the least, but it was a really nice problem to have. So after burning a little bit of midnight oil, which was worth it, I kind of got over it. But it was like getting 4 months worth of quota in just 1 month. So I certainly had to close off the tap after that for a while. Now, think about your own practices for a little while. Think about it. Think about an industry. Do you want to go after crafters or manufacturers, or maybe there's an area of specialization that you have? For example, maybe you're a property tax expert or a trust expert. Then just go and ask yourself the question, who has access to these people? So here's some questions you could ask, like, what associations do they belong to? What workshops and seminars do they attend? Are there annual conferences, for example, or are there trade shows that they attend? Where do they network, for example? Who do they do business with regularly? That's a really good question to ask. What sort of clubs and organizations do they visit? I trust you're beginning to see how easy this really is to get to your ideal customers. Now, this webinar usually runs about 90 minutes, but I'm going to issue a CPD certificate if you want one. And I'm also going to stick around till the end to answer questions. And I find that most accounting associations around the world are very happy to accept the CPD and to give you credit for it, because it is a very intense training, practice management training all in one. Now, please be advised that I do not make replays available. So if you miss this webinar for any reason, you're going to have to register for a future webinar. And I do try to run these webinars at different times, in different days of the week. I'll send out an email to everybody that misses this webinar telling you of when the next webinar will be. Now, the reason I do that is because I am very big on action takers, and I want to reward the people that are actually prepared to set aside the time to grow their practice. Now, all of the details are actually below this video, so make sure that you don't miss it. And when you do attend the webinar, what I want you to do is to make sure that you take a lot of notes. And to help you with this, I'm actually going to include for you a handout below as well that you can download. And once you complete this handout, it will serve as an action guide to make sure that you can actually put the principles that you're about to learn for this, because of the time that you're investing into action. Now, just before I sign off, I just want to let you know that I have another video for you tomorrow. I'm just finishing up the editing, and it's definitely a prerequisite for attending the online training. Now, it contains a lot of really useful information that I know that you're going to love, so please keep an eye out in your inbox for it. Finally, if you haven't, be sure to add the time for this training to your calendar. Again, you definitely do not want to miss it, because as I said, I do not make the recordings available. So check out the details below, put it into your calendar, and I really look forward to seeing you on the webinar real soon. Right, until then, this is James Morphetus signing out.